Manhã, música. Ah, que isso? Abre a sacada. É seu ex-marido segurando um buquê de flores junto com um carro de som tocando um sucesso romântico dos anos 60. Foge pelos fundos, corre. Pronto. Ele nunca vai imaginar que...
Sabia que você estaria aqui, meu amor.
Corre, hotel, tocaia na janela. Silêncio. Ufa, acho que despistei. É isso. Hora de dar aquela merecida relaxada. SBP. Amar é proteger. Até o seu descanso.
Now, back to the Larry Kudlow Show.
So, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, new Secretary of State, good man, he's going down to have talks with Panama, the president of Panama. President of Panama says not going to talk about the Panama Canal. I don't believe that for 1 second. We're going to bring in my great friend, Ambassador Robert O'Brien, former National Security Advisor to President Trump and now chairman of American Global Strategies. You know, Robert, there was a very interesting hearing of the Senate Commerce Committee this past week, which is chaired by Senator Ted Cruz. And lawyers were there, and they basically were going over the Canal Treaty, 1977 treaty, that transferred ownership and control to Panama. But there has to be a special regime of neutrality. It prohibits any foreign operations of the canal. Now, the Chinese government is in there because they own these companies that are running the docks at both ends, the Pacific ends and the Atlantic Ocean ends, as you know. And what these lawyers were saying is when you have violations, each party can take unilateral action by whatever means necessary to keep the canal neutral. All right? And a former federal maritime commissioner, Louis Sola, said the same thing. So I want to get your opinion about this because this is just more Chinese mischief.
Yeah. So, Larry, thank you for having me on. This is a very serious issue, and I can guarantee you Secretary Rubio and the Panamanian President Molino are going to talk about the Panama Canal on the visit. And what happened here, and people need to understand the time frame, in 1997, a company called C.K. Hutchinson Holdings, a Hong Kong company, took over the ports on the east and west end of the canal. Those ports control the entryway to the canal and the exitway to the canal. So if we want to move warships from the Caribbean to the Pacific Ocean, if there was a contingency in Taiwan and we needed to move part of the Eastern Fleet to the Pacific like we did in World War II, they have to go through the canal for the fastest passage. So this company, C.K. Hutchinson Holdings, when it took the contract, it was a British company. It was in Hong Kong. The British controlled Hong Kong. And then Hong Kong was taken over by the Communist Chinese. They said that Hong Kong would remain free and have their own legal system for 50 years. Well, you and I were in office in 2020 when China passed a national security law that applied to Hong Kong and basically made it a crime. If you don't do the bidding, if you're a company or an individual in Hong Kong and do not do the bidding of the Chinese Communist Party, you can go to jail for life. So C.K. Hutchinson Holdings is 100% controlled by the Communist Party of China. It controls both ends of the canal. And you can just imagine the mischief, as you point out, Larry, that they could do. Number one is espionage. They know everything that happens in the canal. Every American warship that goes by gets photographed from those canals, from the cranes over the canals. And imagine a war situation, even if you didn't have an explosion blowing the cranes up and shutting the canal on both ends, snipers on top of the canal, the cranes overlooking the canals, would shoot through the radars of our ships, kill our sailors on deck. It's a nightmare. And so America's got to take action. And if the Panamanians don't play ball, then President Trump is going to protect America. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, these lawyers who appeared before the Senate Commerce Committee basically pointed out that the United States and/or Panama could take unilateral action by whatever means necessary to keep the canal operations neutral, which would be action against the Chinese companies that you're describing. I don't know. I have not seen reports yet of Marco Rubio's conversations. Now, the other thing is, Robert O'Brien, I mean, the Panama president's supposed to be pro-American, but China's got his hooks into him. At least that's what I believe. You said that to me. Steve Forbes said that China's got, Belt and Road, making loans. Now Panama's in debt. This is an old Chinese story, in this case related to the canal, but not just the canal, the country of Panama. So even though the president of Panama may be pro-American, he's got China breathing down his neck, and I don't know what he's going to do about it.
Here's John Katzimatidis Jr.
Are you paying too much for your home or business heating oil? My family owns and operates United Metro Energy, and we can offer you a lower price and better service right now. No other heating oil company can match our tremendous buying power. We own our own refinery, our own storage tanks, and the largest fleet of company-owned trucks.
We get a 20-cent a gallon tax credit with United Metro Energy's biofuel.
We're a community-conscious, family-run business.
We're here for you 24/7.
Contact me anytime.
Email john@umecny.com. It's Ocean Drive in Coney Island.
Ocean Drive is the only luxury rentals in New York with a spectacular ocean view. You wake up in the morning and breathe that ocean air. I'll certify that you're going to live 10 years longer. When I became successful, I wanted to live on the ocean. If you have worked hard, you deserve an apartment on Ocean Drive too. Go to oceandrivenyc.com and reward yourself.
If you're a policeman, fireman, doctor, nurse, or teacher, you qualify for a limited time offer at oceandrivenyc.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Absolutely. The Chinese have huge leverage over Panama and many countries in Latin America because of their debt diplomacy. A lot of it happened, Larry, during COVID when these countries needed PPE, they needed masks and gowns and ventilators and vaccines. The Chinese came in and supplied it at huge profit margins, made them loans, didn't give it to them as foreign aid like we did, made them loans, and now they're making them repay the loans. If they don't repay the loans timely, they'll foreclose on assets, including ports and railroads and hospitals and football stadiums. So the Chinese have great leverage in Latin America, but we've got greater leverage with the canal because the canal is the golden goose for Panama. Panama doesn't exist without the canal. And look, there's a very simple resolution to this issue that, the president of Panama has to understand. You got to keep the Chinese off the canal, take CK Hutchinson Holdings contracts away, and put those ports in the hands of an American company or at a minimum a Western company, a French or British, a Canadian company that has Western interests at heart and is not a tool of the Communist Party of China, which CK Hutchinson Holdings is. And that's the way to resolve this very quickly. Otherwise, look, the unilateral action is not just the legal action that the United States can take. I mean, if we need to secure the canal, Panama doesn't have an army. We had an army in Panama for almost 100 years, and we had to go in with Noriega, and very quickly our friend Keith Kellogg was leading a brigade in that operation.
I didn't know that.
So if we have to secure the canal, we know very well how to secure the canal. We can do it very quickly, and we can do it very effectively. And look, the Panamanian people, I don't think understand that the Chinese have taken their territory. They're very independent people. They value their sovereignty. They're concerned about the U.S., but they need to understand that the Chinese Communist Party has taken over their canal, and we're not going to stand for it. And the Chinese people should, and the Panamanian people shouldn't stand for it. And I think we'd be welcome there.
Well, so going back in time, you're right. Papa Bush, President George H.W. Bush, invaded Panama, I believe 1989. Noriega was the dictator. He turned against us. He's kind of a drug lord also. But anyway, I mean, Papa Bush blew him out in 20 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to ask you now, do we have a military presence of any kind in Panama?
No, but we should, and we're going to need to have a presence on the canal zone, an agreement with the Panamanians. Look, the Panamanians are our friends, and the president of Panama is our friend. But what's happened, this Chinese situation has gotten out of control. What happened was originally a British company that had those ports, basically, and now it's a Chinese Communist Party company, and we just can't have that for our national security. And President Trump understands that, and no one wants to go to war with Panama. No one wants to send a massive amount of U.S. troops to Panama. But we've got to protect our national interests. That canal is It's absolutely critical to U.S. national security. 70% of the traffic through the canal goes to ports in the U.S. That goes to or originates in ports in the U.S. It's how we move our Navy back and forth between the Atlantic and Pacific. We cannot have the Chinese having control of that canal. President Trump understood it from day one. He's pointed it out. And the Panamanians just need to play ball, and it'll be great for them to have strong relations with the United States, and they've got to get the Chinese out of their country. It's good for Panama. It's good for America.
Yep. And these lawyers appearing before the Senate Commerce Committee, they pointed to the actual treaty, and the United States, has plenty of reasons to take action if changes aren't coming. Anyway, Ambassador Robert O'Brien, former National Security Advisor to President Trump and presently Chairman, American Global Strategies. Thanks, Robert. Much love. Folks, we'll take a break, and then we're going to do some stock market work on the other side. Please stick around.
Here for my good friends at Inhala.com. Let's talk about serious business. Sleep apnea. Whether you've been diagnosed with it or afraid you have it, I've got the solution. Inhala is here to give you your life back by giving you your breath back. They make it easy to get help for sleep apnea because living without restful sleep is simply no way to live. Inhala gives you a custom-fitted oral appliance that opens your airway so you naturally breathe the way nature intended. The best part is they offer virtual consultations and in-home sleep testing. No overnight stays at a sleep center. Plus, Inhala has all the doctors that you'll need. Appointments are virtual, and it's all covered by your private medical insurance. Inhala does it all, from diagnosis to the delivery. Don't suffer from another sleepless night or daytime fatigue. Visit Inhala.com or call 844-INHALA-1. That's 844-INHALA and the number 1. Call now. 844-INHALA-1. That's 844-INHALA-1.